We have an exciting show for you tonight. Tonight we are talking with Samantha Goldberg, which is a wedding, event, celebrity, all sorts of things she plans for everybody and celebrities. So stay tuned and we'll talk with her in just a second. Welcome to episode 47 of the Small Businesses Do It Better show. I am the host, Carissa Dunphy, and tonight we're going to be talking with Samantha Goldberg. She is all over the news, all over TV, all over magazines, everywhere you think of, she's been there. So we're going to talk to her and about her business that she's been doing for a long time, and she really knows this stuff in and out, and she has a lot to tell us. So first, we want to tell you about our sponsor, which is Ovaleye. Ovaleye.tv hosts and produces live video events built to meet your objective. Visit Ovaleye.tv to request a free 30-minute consultation today to find more about going live with your brand, and tell them that I sent you, of course. So again, my name is Carissa Dunphy. Thanks for joining us tonight. We have a lot of exciting things, big things happening at Small Businesses Do It Better. The first thing that's very cool is we were voted in the Startup Nation home-based top 100 home-based businesses in the United States. We were in the top 100, number 46. So I guess you could say we're in the top 50. So this is big, huge news. The story was on MSN Money a couple days ago, which is awesome. And this is really big. I'm really proud, and I want to say thank you for everybody who is watching, who voted, because we had the voting up on the live screen where you're watching now. And another big thing we're coming up, it's a secret yet. I can't tell anybody. There's only like a handful of people that know. For a really big announcement of something super huge that's coming up next month. And I'm going to announce this on Thursday on the website, so stay tuned for that. I want to talk to Samantha right now, though. This is really exciting. Okay, so as you can see, we have what you're looking at right now. If you're watching this, we have the live chat beneath the screen, which I can pull up here behind me. So if you want to ask me a question to ask Samantha, type it in, and I will ask her. Also on Twitter, to the right, there's a button that says Launch Tweet Chat with the hashtag SBDIB. If you want to tweet using that hashtag, we're going to have them up on the lower thirds, as you can see on your screen right now. So that's very cool. So tweet away. But we're going to bring Samantha in. So hi, Samantha. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Hi, Carissa. I'm so excited to join you guys.
This is really exciting. So I watched a lot of your Whose Wedding Is It Anyways this past weekend. Which were super exciting, and I was really excited to interview you because I see a lot of things that you do that remind me of myself. One episode in particular where you decided that you had to tell people to leave their samples of the chocolates because you just dispose of them, and I was just like, oh, that's just totally me. You just love those chocolates.
Oh, I do. That's bad, but it's so good.
So anyways, tell us a little bit about yourself and how your business came to be and where you are today and what it came from.
Okay, well, I'm not an East Coast native. I've been out here for almost 11 years, and I came from the professional beauty and fashion industry. So I did events, sales, all kinds of great things, kind of the up and coming, what's in, what's not, anything that to do makeup, hair, clothing. It just, it was a great opportunity. I handled the entire Midwest. So I believe there was 12 states that I handled, hundreds of salespeople, sometimes depending on the position. But we used to put on big events in the Midwest, or obviously, in LA or Florida, major metro area, basically. And teaching people all the great things about looking good, but then also the other half of the business, the people that are selling these items to the people that need to look really good. So being able to train people and to help them understand the philosophy of just like not the immediate dollar, but opposed to like the long-term relationship was a part of my career as well. And that was the most exciting, kind of training people on how easy the philosophy is, kind of like a Myers-Briggs. And I'll share some of that later. But that really is a lot of my background. We moved out here again almost 11 years ago. I was pregnant at the time, and I'd given up a very, really, really cool career and moved out here. Thought I could be the stay-at-home mom, realized I could not be the stay-at-home mom, and decided to work with some nonprofits just kind of on the side. My husband actually suggested that. And that's it. I mean, it was great. It did get a lot of publicity, which I wasn't expecting, of course. I went back into the beauty business, training people, trying to help them understand, again, the customer or the customer's needs. And I worked for a couple months there. It was great. They wanted to hire me full time, but that meant, again, travel. And I had just had my daughter at the time. So it was a matter of a husband saying, you know what? Why don't you get some business cards, go out there and just do like weddings and things that you used to do on the side in Chicago? And I said, you know what? Absolutely what I'm going to do. And within 6 months period of time, I had over 40 clients. Didn't really know the business that well in New York Metro, and had also been asked to be a part of a style network. So again, that wasn't something I was expecting either, to be on TV or really to be considered like a wedding planner or designer. So there's so many things that have evolved since then. And there's a lot to take in. When I look at my resume, sometimes I realize, oh my gosh, where am I going to, like, what's the right name? How do I describe myself? It's kind of a mishmash, but some great things to share with the people that are obviously aspiring to be in this business or any business, as happy to share today. So it'll be a great call.
Well, and it's really remarkable too, the network and the reach that you have. I know on some of your episodes, people travel to have their weddings where you are, which I found remarkable. Because, well, I mean, people would want to go to New Jersey in the winter to have their wedding just so that they can have you plan it. I mean, that speaks volumes about the quality of work you do, the relationships that you have with people.
At first, that's what I was led to believe. But then you look at it from another perspective. If somebody were in Florida, which obviously is part of the network, why would someone in Florida change a beautiful sunny day, a beautiful time of year, to go to like New York, New Jersey, where they don't know anybody, just have a wedding planner that they enjoy watching on television to plan their wedding? That's the part that I kind of started thinking about once it all started coming together. They say, Destination Samantha, and I thought to myself, that's a little scary. That's not normal. Intriguing, yes, and certainly flattering in a sense, but also kind of I can't even explain it in words. It's just you're appreciative that people enjoy that part of you, but on the other hand, you're kind of like, this is strange. Then you share it with like 150 countries and people watching this as it's going on. That becomes much bigger. And that's, that show was, believe it or not, rated as the #1 show on the Style Network, the most controversial episode of the entire history of Whose Wedding. And there were a lot of things that happened during that episode that kind of left it kind of the missing pieces aspect. And that was the name of the show, believe it or not. So, yeah. So, having to explain to the public afterwards wasn't exactly fun, but I felt that I needed to do it, and I did. And you know what? Despite how I felt at the time, certainly things have changed in my career and all for the better. But again, it's just one of those things you're like, that's a little weird.
Well, I want to talk to you also about what you brought up a little while ago. You have a program that allows entrepreneurs to take control and understand who they're selling to instead of wondering how much money they can make. So kind of go into detail a little bit more about that, because this is really important to hear, I think, for entrepreneurs.
I think, if we look back about 20 years ago, our mentality was very different. We thought about, the customer that was sitting in front of us. It wasn't really so much about how much money can we make. It was more so about what kind of relationship can I build with this person. Spontaneity and obviously the immediate, getting that sale is a driver for everyone. But I think that the most important thing that I've learned, and again, from being in sales, and I am in sales essentially as being a designer, I'm selling myself, but I'm selling my work. And I think, again, this is applicable for everyone. It's kind of like the Myers-Briggs, where, you need to understand who you're selling to. You need to understand if that person's going to be a good match for your business. And you have to really know the customer well enough, asking the right questions and making sure you're asking questions that will provide you with just kind of a sense of like what this customer needs. And I think that's kind of what's happening today is that people are forgetting to really kind of understand who's sitting in front of them and saying to themselves, how can I sell them today, but yet sell them next year too, and the year after that, and the year after that. And that's where people are forgetting that, the smaller businesses sometimes don't forget the mentality of focusing on the client first instead of the dollar sign, the immediate gratification of making a sale. If we are to continue doing better in business, that is the way essentially that we need to think. And, that goes into, for me, 4 different categories. One of them being the doer. It's really somebody who just wants to get it done. I'm sure we've all met people like that in our business where they just like, I don't know if you're, me, I'm that type of person. Like, I want to do it now. Let's just get it out of the way. Let's just do it. In my business, of course, I've learned a lot of lessons and not to be that type of person because there's certain relationships that don't work out. If I'm a doer and want to get things done today, and I'm with what we call the next category, a thinker, someone who analyzes the heck out of everything. I mean, it could take them 6 months, like my husband, and when he wants to buy a car, he'll talk about it for 6 or 12 months, and we still don't have the car. So, now we're past that 6-month mark, so, let's wait till the next version comes out. And then, of course, we're going to talk about that for the next 6 months, too. So if you have a doer and a thinker in the same room, I think it's going to be an endless mess, personally. There's a third category, which is called the friend. Everybody wants to be, a friend to our customer. We want to understand them. We want to be there for them. We want to give them the best advice possible because, again, we want to extend that relationship past the first sale. The problem is that there are certain personalities that do well with a friend. And if a friend understands all the other personalities that go together, they're going to be able to sell any type of person. They're going to be able to provide value to any type of client or customer, rather. The last one, obviously, is an actor. The actor is somebody who's extremely passionate about what they're selling to the point where if somebody were to set up some kind of an objective or constructive criticism, they take it so personally because they're so freaking passionate. They want this customer to understand how much they love it. And you know what? I'm considered an actor in this business. Not obviously, I mean, I am on television, but not in that sense. It's more so I'm very passionate, and people tend to gravitate towards people that are passionate because it makes them feel more passionate. But you have to know the balance. You have to know when to be passionate, when to listen, when to let the thinker understand, not give too many choices to that person because you could be there all day. And sometimes you can even talk yourself out of a sale with specific types of people, like a doer who wants to know the bottom line. How much do you cost? Well, do you really want to do business with someone who just cares about, again, the bottom line, like how much do you cost? I mean, what kind of relationship are you going to have? What if you can't address what that customer needs? That's not going to be a lasting relationship. That could spoil your business. That could spoil referrals in your business.
Definitely.
So again,
it's a balance of everything because you can,
it is.
If somebody's so strong on one, then it just comes so apparent, and
it is.
It's harder to work with someone also like that. And your husband, by the way, he's in the chat and he says he loves his car.
Well, he loves his car, but he's been talking about buying a new one for the last 6 months. Actually, we're coming up on 6 months, Andrew. So we'll be talking about it. I'm sure the new Jaguar for next year, and we'll go into that next year and talk about the car after that. Yeah. I'm waiting for that conversation.
So in an extension of this conversation, you have an insane amount of relationships with vendors and companies who you've partnered with to extend your brand as a part of your business. Can you elaborate more on the importance of these relationships and how it's helped you get into different things? And we'll talk about who your partners are because you're partnered with some incredible businesses.
Yes, I've been very fortunate. again, I think that kind of ties into what I said earlier about building relationships and seeking out the brands that I want to represent. Now, Hilton obviously is one of the big brands that I've represented, and that's a company that sought me out. I actually thought it was a joke at first. I thought someone was playing a joke because it was the same year as that horrible show called Missing Pieces. So, of course, me thinking to myself, yeah, who's playing that joke? Well, there was no joke. They had said at the time, hands down, they asked, who would you like to represent our company, our brand, like for events and just different things? And hands down, it was me. That was, you never expect that people are going to say that after you show off a crazy side of you on national, international television. But, that's allowed me to kind of reach out there. And I'll tell you something, when I wanted to work for a specific company, I don't worry about whether they have a position open or whether or not they're going to find that I'm the applicable person or the right type of person for the job. When I'm going in for what I call the kill, if there's a company that I want to work with, I'm going to make sure we're going to work together. That is, again, using that same philosophy and finding out if they even have needs. Everybody has needs. Everybody's always for sale. So the relationships that I've built are purely just about having relationships or drumming up a relationship with someone who I don't know and taking a chance and saying, you know what, I'm not going to think about what could potentially happen. I'm going to learn about this company to make sure that if I do want to work with them, that we're kind of that have that synergy together. And so with that philosophy, I have worked with Party City, Bloomingdale's, Hanes, Western Union, Wilton. Actually, I'm getting ready to sign another large relationship, which I was hoping to announce during the show here, but we're kind of back and forth in contracts. So it's my fault. It's my fault. But, it's got to be right. It's got to be right. And you don't want to have any regrets.
I love that you said everybody has a need, even if they don't know it, because sometimes people, stay on their path of business and they never think like, oh, maybe this person, if you approach that company that you want to work with, they may never have thought of you doing that or anybody doing that for that matter. And just by contacting them and building that relationship and starting their relationship, persistence does work, and growing that relationship does get you to that point to reach that goal. If you set yourself out, I love that. Set yourself out to say, I'm going to work with this company, and you stick with it, then you will.
It's kind of like that. I remember my grandmother telling me years ago, she's like, Sammy, she's like, if you really want something to happen, she's like, close your eyes and picture yourself in that position. Picture yourself having that job. Picture yourself being happy and just making it work. And that's kind of the philosophy I've had with my entire life. I've never been turned down for positions because I think I've kind of divulged a need to have a relationship in some capacity. Now, maybe it's not exactly the way I wanted it to start, but it is a start. It's actually the company when I started in the beauty business out here, I actually went to this company. They weren't hiring anybody. I put together my own consulting position for this company. And while they wanted to hire me for something else, which I was very adamant in not doing, they ended up essentially hiring me for the position that I designed on my own. And that, I don't call it being lucky. I call it going after what I feel is right for me, and also what I think could be a potentially great relationship, which it was. It turned out to be a great position for the both of us. I wish I could have been able to stay there longer, but what they wanted was more travel, and I had just had my daughter, so that just wasn't gonna, that's just not where I was.
And they probably would have never seen anybody doing what you told them needed to be done if you hadn't shown them.
I turned around things. I was able to help their managers and salespeople close on things that they had been trying for the last 6 months to a year to do. So they were amazed by kind of something they just, again, right under your nose. All of these things are just basically common sense. And it's just a matter of learning how to use them and altering them based on how you are as a person. And so essentially, if you're able to kind of, I don't say manipulate, but if you're able to kind of help somebody understand the value that you'll bring to them, not like, again, just tomorrow, but like 5 years from now, that's, again, you're unveiling a need and asking the right questions, you're unveiling more. And even essentially, you're going to have an answer. And the answer is generally going to be yes, because nobody else is looking for those specific questions or getting those answers. It just doesn't happen.
Yes. Amazing, amazing advice. I love that. So I want to check in on the live chat really quick. Tiffany Silverberg loves your advice. She said you're just getting her brain in gear for her. Joseph Colbert, he is the owner of Fuzzy Cover, which I have one somewhere here. But he thinks you should be a shark on Shark Tank.
You think so? Well, you know what? It's funny you'd say that. Someone said that you would be a great poker face. I said, yeah, I think I probably could. Thank you. Thank you.
You may have callings. You don't even know these things yet. We're bringing them to you.
Yes, exactly. I'm going to be on Shark Tank tomorrow and envision myself tonight in my head there.
All right. So you have, like you said, you have some things under contract that you can't talk about, but you do have a bunch of exciting things coming up. So tell us what you're going to be doing in 2013, where we can find you, if you're going to be at any events.
Well, the first exciting thing, which again, I had not thought about this. My PR representative, Robin Stevens, we discussed kind of like, what I'd like to see happening for 2013. And well, right now I'm kind of making appearances, getting ready for bridal season, which is going to happen in the next 2.5 months. I was actually on a show and well, I said to myself, a talk show. And from that very talk show, half of it was, really being a guest as a host, obviously not myself being the host, but talking about things related to bridal and being up there with her and the synergy that we had. And then, of course, meeting with a very well-known producer of Warza, John Horchow, and he's won, like, I guess, 260 or who knows how many Emmys for the writing of shows, kind of asked how I felt about it. And, of course, I really wasn't expecting the same day that I went in there to, talk about Monique Louvier or, Jenny Lee or, a lot of different gown companies that they would be talking to me about having my own talk show. It sounded like fun, but the more I thought about it, I'm like, that is kind of what would be great for me because I like to involve people from all over. And I do have a lot of celebrity friends and I do have a lot of things to make ratings and a lot of interesting things to talk about that may cross the line for certain people, but for others, it's such a broader spectrum of audience that would totally relate to these things that I intend on covering. So I signed. It's going to be on WMCN. And right now we're just trying to figure out the more so the time. It's going to be in the evening when I'll be on 5 days a week or 3 days a week. I haven't really made that decision, but I do start taping in the next week and a half. So I am excited. I started putting together a lot of my kind of the subjects that I'd like to cover, the celebrities that are going to be on there, which people will be like, you knew him? It's going to be kind of those kind of things. And I'm a sandbagger, so I like for shock value, make things more interesting. And so while I am starting in studio, there's another side of the show which will be taking it to the streets where maybe in the bridal business, I'll just show up at someone's shop and ask them questions about their business or maybe talk about some of the new things that they're doing. I may show up at a bakery and ask them, yeah, like Buddy, for example, I am friends with Buddy
Velastro.
Yes, Buddy was one of my first friends as a vendor when I first moved out here to the East Coast. And he actually was on TV with me with Style Network first before he was really on TV, except for the Food Network. So he and I developed this really, really cool relationship. He helped me with some of the craziest people and shows that I've done on Style. And, I'm so proud of him. He's just done so well. And I've got to watch a lot of my friends grow. These are people that, even Buddy was on Craigslist, which of course I attribute to, a lot of the vendors that I work with there. But seriously, he was on there and you'd be amazed at people you meet on Craigslist. So having that there, again, having a new brand that I am going to be signing for and announcing soon. It's a big brand. It's not something that I would have thought to consider in my business, but it's so applicable from people of age like 9 to like 90 or 100. It's a really broad spectrum.
Well, that's
the other
awesome.
Thing,
go ahead.
Then obviously, my own line. I've designed my own line of clothing, and somehow I just kind of moved that back into the beauty and fashion industry and did develop my own line of mineral cosmetics. So that's in process. It's called Pink Fluff. So you can imagine it's going to have some bling there. It's definitely a natural side. But because I came from that salon part of the business, it's such an in, it's like an in. It's these people that I built relationships with for so long. They're excited to have it. I'm excited to even have it myself. And at this point, I also have a reality show that I'm working on. So, that has to do with my nonprofit and has been by far the most incredible experience I've ever had. I've enjoyed being with this style network for 9+ seasons and 2 shows that they've had. I was happy that I was tapped to do a pilot about destination weddings, which was a great honor to be a part of, and I was happy that it made it. I believe it was 4 seasons, 3 or 4 seasons that actually made it. It was Whose Destination Wedding Is It? And then, of course, then it turned into Married Away. So it was a great opportunity to see that side of the business as well. Again, remember, I didn't really focus on weddings 100% when I lived in the city of Chicago. I focused more on the beauty and fashion, and then I did do my salespeople's weddings. And of course, I started the business with another person. We grew the business. She got pregnant, didn't want it, and I was kind of like stuck with it. And I was like, okay, I'm working this really important job that I have, but now I also have this wedding planning business. Like, how am I going to juggle this? So it was very interesting, to say the least, but I do have my hands in quite a bit. I am traveling, speaking more as an advocate for just sales. And, that kind of puts me back into my roots. I really do enjoy training people on how to sell, how to think about tomorrow instead of just living in the moment today. I know we tell our couples to live in the moment today, but when we think about relationship with vendors and people that we do business with just on a regular basis, you got to think about tomorrow. You have to think about that other person. So that is something I'm also working on as well. There's other projects, but again, it's overwhelming for me to talk about them because I'm kind of like trying to figure out how am I going to fit this in here. And instead of me saying that I was going to sandbag everyone for 2013, I believe that has turned around now on me. I was the one who was sandbagged.
Well, that's good. Everything's working out where it's going. It sounds like it's in a good direction. Sam keeps her website up to date with all this stuff. Just in a couple weeks in the time I've checked back with stuff, and she keeps it really up to date. So, what is it? SamanthaGoldberg.com. You can check out what she's doing, and I'm sure she'll post your TV appearances and everything that's coming up on there. So you're doing an awesome job with everything. I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. You had remarkable information. The people in the chat are eating you up, not literally. But we're going to jump on over to Twitter right now. For those of you who are watching live, use the hashtag SBDIB, which is Small Businesses Do It Better. And there's a link on the right side of the screen to launch the tweet chat. So visit her website and, again, SamanthaGoldberg.com. Go over to Twitter right now to chat with us. So thanks again for joining us.
Thank you for having me, everybody. Thank you for watching, and hopefully maybe I've extended something onto you. 2013 can definitely be your year. Just keep in your mind, think about long term. Don't just think about what you can get from them today. Think about what you can do when you can do things for them to get referrals, and work with them again and again and again, depending on your business.
Excellent advice. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was phenomenal information. So thanks again, Samantha. We're going to jump over to Twitter. Next week's guest, really quick, is David A. Cox from PC Classes Online. You guys saw him on Shark Tank at the beginning of this season. This guy, he had the hilarious comedian come on with him that everybody Twitter was crazy when he was on there. So join next week for that. The product we're going to be featuring next week is Easy Promos app. It's a Facebook app that allows you to run promotions that I'm currently running now to win an appearance on the show for your product or service. So go to our Facebook page, which is Facebook/SMBiz Do It Better, to enter to win that contest. So thanks again for watching, and you can watch this show tomorrow and any other episodes on iTunes or on smallbusinessesdoitbetter.com. So thank you for watching.